Hi, my name is Mark Ryan. I'm going to walk you through testing Zscaler Private Access end-to-end as part of Transformation Edition. Here's my setup. I've got a couple of devices down the bottom, managed running Zscaler Client Connector, an unmanaged device without Client Connector obviously, and a managed device without Client Connector. They're managed by Intune, so they're Azure AD joined devices, the two on the left. Connect to the Zero Trust Exchange. I have environment in AWS. I've got an environment in my data center. I'm going to show you a couple of different applications. Focus a little bit on a browser application, a website. I'm going to show it being accessed through the client connector with browser-based access and with cloud browser isolation, the three different mechanisms there. I'm going to show you an inspection policy, so Zscaler Private Access Inspection, covering the OWASP top 10. I'm going to show you how that applies across the different access methods that we've talked about there. I'm going to show you how Cloud Connector running in my AWS environment is able to connect from AWS into the data center, and I'm going to show you privileged remote access, SSH, RDP access, and how to do client-to-client for support access through privileged remote access. So with that as the setup, what we'll do is we'll close these down. I'm running RDP to the three different devices. So I'm going to start with the managed Zscaler Client Connector device here. And very simplistically, we're going to access the Apache server. It's coming over Zscaler Private Access. We know Zscaler Client Connector here is running. I can kind of prove some of this by simply pinging the apache.welshgeek.net. Zero Trust policy means that I can't get ICMP, I don't get a response from servers, although I can enable that on a per service basis. But the 164 address shows me that Zscaler Private Access is intercepting that traffic. A couple of other things to show. Kerberos ticketing is working, so I'm able to get my Kerberos tickets from the Active Directory. I can do things like GP update to pull down my group policy from Active Directory, and I've got full access to my my domain over ZPA, so I can access things. For example, I'm running a log stream, so I can see all of my ZPA logs streamed end to end through the log streaming service with my access over ZPA to get access to those logs here, and there's my Apache access there from the client. So log streaming means that you can see all of your logs, feed those into your SIEM SOAR solution, and make API-based controls over that. Group policy is updated. We can see things like my Kerberos ticketing, managed to get my LDAP ticket, my CIFS ticket, to access services. So all of your domain services work over Zscaler Private Access. We'll go ahead and close that window. If we do the same, let's go to the managed device without Client Connector and open up the service. We'll go to HTTPS apache.welshgeek.net, and at this point I've been redirected to my ADFS server. So we're doing browser-based access. I need to authenticate to the service, to the platform, to be able to access this application. I'm going to use certificate-based authentication. I've got a domain registered device, so I've got a certificate. In this context, it's a user-based certificate. I could be doing device certificates as well. Authenticate in that method, and I can access the service through the platform. I'm going browser-based access to the Zscaler platform. If we at this point ping apache.welshgeek.net, we know that we're hitting the external service. Again, no ICMP because we're not going to allow that through, but I'm accessing a public IP address which is hosted on Zscaler. Let's go ahead and go to the unmanaged device and do the same thing. So we go to https apache.welshgeek.net. Again, I'm redirected to the IDP. I need to authenticate the user, but by virtue of this being an unmanaged device, I don't have certificates. So I'm going to log on here as a user using forms-based authentication. I might still require my partners or third parties to do multi-factor authentication. At this point, I'm redirected into our isolation container. So I'm getting the pixels screen scraped down to the user. The user doesn't have direct ability to interact with the application itself. It's all through this containerized session. So we've got all the access there. Now let's think about a couple of different things we could do. So we could consider accessing an application and attacking it by virtue of a SQL injection attack. So let's come back over, let's start with the managed device again. So this user has direct access to the server, albeit over Zscaler private access. In this case, the SQL injection attack, we're going to try and pass this through to the SQL server and try and get some data out of there. The Zscaler private access inspection policy is blocking that against the OWASP top 10, and therefore we get this 403 forbidden error. We could do a similar kind of attack, a PHP injection attack, similar kind of format, but this one is trying to return information about the version of PHP that's running on the service. So let's go to the managed device without Zscaler client connector. Again, it's going over the browser-based access, but we'll still get inspection. We'll still get that traffic blocked because of the inspection policy. And then finally, we're going to try a remote code execution, trying to run Who Am I through a vulnerability in the application. We'll come across to the unmanaged device now, and we'll paste that in. And you'll see the redirect here still takes me into isolation. That URL is passed all the way through, and we still get that forbidden message. So the user experience here from an isolated container still is very pervasive, very user-friendly to take you into that container authentication and those cookies being passed through, and of course the inspection policy coming up.